The air in Tari's hut was thick with the scent of damp earth and simmering herbs. Daffy stood in the oppressive heat with a sack clutched in his trembling hands. The shadows of dried roots and strange skeletal trinkets danced on the walls. As an outcast, wandering this far into the belly of the forest was nothing new to him. That was how he had stumbled upon Tari in the first place. Now chance had turned into opportunity, and he would do anything to seize it. Daffy was the son of a war hero who had fallen for an enemy woman. After his father's suspicious death, the kingdom stripped his family of their land and left his mother in shame. But tonight, he wanted vengeance. He wanted to reclaim his father's honor and his mother's place in the world. And so, here he stood before Tari, a dark witch, her body a grotesque roadmap of scars that spoke of power he could not comprehend. "I have the items," he said, his voice barely a whisper. Tari motioned without a word. Daffy hesitated. His fingers trembled as he placed the sack on a small table cluttered with bones and faded texts. He emptied the contents carefully. A small wooden cage containing a live black rooster with a blood-red comb, a handful of smooth cowries, a small vial of his own blood, a tangled lock of his hair, and 3 speckled duck eggs. The witch stared at his shaking hands. "You are desperate, but also scared," she said. "Good. Desperation can drive you forward, and fear can sharpen your instincts, but too much of either, and you'll break." Daffy clenched his jaw. "I don't think I have a choice." "I hope you believe that with everything in you," Tari replied, her voice as dry as rustling leaves. She pointed to a woven basket in a corner. "My test is simple. Bring me what's in that basket." A low hiss, almost too faint to hear, emanated from the basket. Daffy's heart pounded against his chest. He knew the stories of dark witches, their magic a perversion of the more common mages who only used nature's power and the sight of their ancestors. Dark witches dealt in blood and life, and there was always a price to all who practiced it. The magic cursed the body, and society had no place for it, banishing them to the forest where only the most powerful and cunning could survive. Daffy reached for the basket, lifted the lid, and slammed it back down immediately. Coiled inside was a massive python, its body thick and gleaming, its tongue darting in fury. "A coward then," Tari stated, her voice devoid of emotion. "I told you, fear is a drive, but it must be used. You are paralyzed by it. A man who freezes at the sight of a snake in a basket will not survive the palace. The queen's chamber is a nest of vipers more cunning than that serpent. They will not be in a basket. They will look at you, smile at you, and tear you apart." She walked around the table, keeping her eyes on him. "Do you think I endured years of living in this forest, alone with wild beasts and evil spirits, so I could help a boy who cowers at a simple test?" She moved toward him with a quiet grace, her footsteps silent on the dirt floor. "You say your father was a hero in the war, and he died because he dared to love his enemy. He fought for a kingdom that cast him aside for his love. And you, a child of scandal, want to reclaim his name? This is a debt you owe to him, and you will not pay it by cowering." She stopped in front of him, so close he could see the intricate web of scars on her skin. "Now, are you the foolish boy who wants to be king, or are you a man who is willing to take his place in the world? The snake is a test of your resolve, and you must face it. It is not a question of bravery, but of necessity." She held his gaze, her dark eyes unwavering. "Pick it up, Daffy, or walk out that door. Return to your life of disgrace and forget you ever came to me." Her words cut deep, and Daffy felt heat rise in his chest. He thought of his father's sacrifice for love,
his mother's humiliation and suffering, of the whispers that chased him everywhere he went. He pushed his fear down and lifted the lid. Without hesitation, he reached in and seized the serpent by the head, its body coiling around his arm, its muscles constricting. Gritting his teeth, he pulled it free and held it out to Tari. Her withered lips twisted into what could only be a smile on her disfigured face. She took the snake from him with the same quiet ease with which a mother would take a child, and in one fluid motion wrapped it around her neck. The snake settled there like a living jewel, its forked tongue testing the air, a sign of her power over the natural world. "Good," she pawed, stroking the snake. Taffy rubbed his arm, watching her and her snake with caution.
"What now? I've brought the ingredients. I've passed your test."
"Now we prepare the spell."
"It is a work of blood magic. They say it is a perversion of nature, but they are fools. Blood is life, is it not? The mages of your kingdom can barely scratch the surface of true power. I can twist reality to my will, and with the items you've brought, I will twist it for you." She led him back to the table and inspected the items. A black rooster, the harbinger of dawn, a life sacrifice to bring about a new beginning. The cowries, a symbol of fortune and value. Your hair and your blood, a part of you to bind the spell to your very essence. The duck eggs, speckled, a symbol of potential, of a new life waiting to hatch. These are not just objects, they are conduits. She turned back to him. The spell's work is simple in principle. When you stand before the queen, you must ensure she is the first person to meet your gaze. The moment her eyes find yours, the magic will take hold, Tari explained. She will see the only man worthy to stand by her side, and she will be compelled to choose you. His chest tightened, and in return, he asked with a mixture of desperation and distrust. Her smile sharpened. "You will make me the sole mage of the palace." He almost laughed, but her stare silenced him. "That's not possible," he muttered. "They won't allow it. They will burn the palace to the ground before they allow it." But Tari replied coldly, "The king's word is final. Once the queen has chosen you, once you wear the crown, your will becomes law. They may resent it, they may whisper, but they will not defy it." Daffy hesitated. "And the queen herself? What if she resists?"
"You doubt me?"
Tari growled. Her tone grew sharp.
"When the queen gazes into your eyes, she will fall into an infatuation so deep she will want nothing but to please you. That I promise." Daffy frowned. Unease still tugged at him. "Why? What is it you truly want in the palace?" As opposed to this life of luxury, Tari snapped at him with sarcasm. She looked around her hut, the eerie sounds of the forest creeping in. She sighed and her face softened. A fleeting moment of vulnerability, she told him of the face she once had, smooth, beautiful, and radiant under the sun, of how people once smiled at her before her magic awakened in her and twisted her into something monstrous. Ancient texts speak of a ritual to reverse the physical tolls of dark magic. It requires a rare ingredient, the life force of one born to rule, of royal lineage, she told him. Daffy's stomach knotted. "The queen's blood?" he whispered. Tari did not deny it. "It is the only way." For a heartbeat, Daffy saw her not as a witch, but as another outcast like himself, yearning for what had been taken. But her eyes hardened once more, and all vulnerability disappeared from her face. "You will get your throne, and I will get my life back. A fair exchange." From a chest, she handed him a small dried root that looked like a gnarled finger, and asked him to eat it on his way back to the kingdom. His fingers brushed her cold skin as he took it, and she wondered why he hadn't recoiled like others would. Without another word, he turned and left. Tari stood alone in her hut, stroking the python on her shoulders.
Normalcy, she sneered. A tame ambition. I do not crave the gentle smiles and soft faces of neighbors. So naive. He thinks he came to me, but fate brought him here. If he can do his part, all the power shall be mine. The queen's blood will not only restore me, it will bind her crown, her strength, her very breath to my will. Her life will be in my hands. And when the moment comes, my path to the throne will be forged in fire.